Darrell Owens, Bowie Television. We're here on Radio Row for Super Bowl 58 and our first official interview ever on Radio Row with a table. On the sit down, we have Mr. Cam Rogers from the Bleav Podcasting Network. Hey, it's good to have you, my man. How's everything going?
Great to be with you, fresh off a plane here, coming from BWI. Funny enough, pretty smooth through security, so no issues there. And I feel like I have to put it on my resume now that this is the first interview on Radio Row. This is big.
This is the first sit-down one. It's absolutely amazing to have you. Now, you know, Cam, we got a lot to get into because we could talk so much here. We got the big week with the Super Bowl going down, Super Bowl 58, and we know that you got a little bit on the betting expertise out there. So for all those people out there that are like, man, how do I go in this game? How do I approach betting in this one? Because it's a tough one.
It is.
It's a Super Bowl. You never know what can happen. What are your thoughts on the best strategy to bet for the Super Bowl?
I think it's fair to say that the hardest NFL game to bet on is the Super Bowl because Vegas can solely focus on that game and have really sharp lines, whether it is the total or the spread, right? So I think right now we have Chiefs +2. That's a really good number. Over/under at 47.5. Again, another really good number. So I think the difficulty right now is trying to understand the money distribution because you have the public and the professionals both aligned with the Kansas City Chiefs at +2, which makes you wonder if Vegas is going to make a lot of money when the San Francisco 49ers win. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I think the approach here is understanding the line of scrimmage in this game in particular because I do see a lot of discrepancies. And I say that because both the Chiefs and the 49ers struggle to stop the run.
True.
But I would say the 49ers are actually bad. The Chiefs do it by design, right? And so it's something to kind of monitor here because you saw Green Bay run all over San Francisco. You saw Detroit amass 180 yards on the ground. And frankly, if Dan Campbell just let his ego to the side, it'd be Detroit versus Kansas City in the Super Bowl. So
it could be history, man. It could be history.
It could be. So in that vein, I think that couple the fact that the 49ers can't stop the run and they can't create pressure makes me lean toward the Kansas City Chiefs in this spot.
Okay, and now, so, you know, obviously they have a whole bunch of prop bets. And, what's the funnest prop bet for you? Like, the one that you're like, ooh, I can't wait to kind of jump in on. What's the biggest prop bet, or maybe a couple that you see that you like?
Well, I cashed this one last year. The Gatorade Bath color was purple last year. I picked purple, and I think it was like +500. So congratulations out there for getting rich, courtesy of me. This year, I'm on orange, all right? Orange has been a common one in years past. We haven't had a span of 4 years without orange since Super Bowl 42. We're at 3 years right now with no orange. There has to be orange this year. There has to be.
Right.
So that's my logic behind that, +330 with orange. And then, of course, I mean, why not? Taylor Swift props. You got to do it.
Got to have it.
So it depends on where you are in the country, in the nation, as far as these props are concerned, because some are illegal. But Swift and Kelsey to be shown kissing on February 11th. The yes is -180, so it's juiced up, but you got to pay $180 to win 100. But if you think Kansas City is going to win, I think it's fair to say that T. Swift and T. Kels are going to kiss.
I mean, we saw it in the AFC Championship game, and I'll be honest, that's the first time I've seen any affection between the two. I mean, hold hands, but that was the first time I see them actually kiss. So, you know, at one point I was like, is this a prop? But, you know, because you hadn't seen it, but it was good. You know, I'm happy for the both of them, you know, with all the craziness that's going on. So there it is. Super Bowl bets kind of
I have a fun one for the halftime show, too. Of course, we have Usher doing the show, so you can bet on guest performers. This is really juicy, but it's -250 for Ludacris to be a guest performer. I feel like he's going to play,
Right.
You have to have Luda. He has
and that means Lil Jon is here. Lil Jon's performing this weekend.
Here?
Yeah, he's performing this weekend.
Yeah, so I think Ludacris, I mean, you got to have him in the song.
You got to.
So.
And if you're going to do and I forgot where I saw that Lil Jon was performing, but he's performing somewhere in Vegas this weekend. That would be a pretty safe one, too. Yeah, most definitely. So, with the Super Bowl, and obviously that's just not your whole thing on betting. You bet across the industry.
Yep.
You know, I guess I would say more advice for people they're starting to get into it, because we see betting has taken a massive form across the country. It's a huge thing now. I mean, it's always been, but it's really huge now. You know, for beginners, how would you kind of get a beginner into the betting world?
I'm going to be like that old man, get off my lawn kind of situation, but bankroll management and don't do parlays. I know the boys out there love to do those parlays. I've done it before,
Parlays
but
are pretty.
you're basically donating money to Vegas, right? I would recommend straight bets to start at least, right? And then 1 unit is 1% of your bankroll. So if you have $1,000 in your bankroll, 1 unit would be $10. $10 per game, right? Depending on the amount of units, of course, you use on a game. But it's really hard to lose your bankroll if you do it that way. It's really easy to lose your bankroll if you're doing parlays at $50, $100 a pop, right? So, something to consider there. If you want to keep it casual and play a parlay here and there, totally understand. You want to get that rush, right? But if you actually want to make, a little bit of income betting, bankroll management, and then, no parlays, straight bets only. So.
All right, so good. For those new beginners, Cam's got you. Make sure you follow Cam. Go to all his social media. Check that out on that. Now, I kind of want to talk to you about the PGA and Live Golf.
Yeah.
I mean, last year we had the big merge into, I guess, one entity per se. What were your thoughts on that whole switch up? I mean, because they were very competitive for a while where, they were taking a lot of the big stars of the PGA and they were heading over to Live Golf with a lot of issues with the, is it Saudi Arabia money?
Yes.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia money.
Yes.
So a lot
The
of that went into
controversy
it.
there.
So what were your thoughts on the merge and how things are going so far?
Well, right now we're kind of at a murky time in golf because we haven't actually gotten the deal signed, sealed, and delivered yet between PIF, which is the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, and the PGA Tour. Now, the PGA Tour right now is becoming a for-profit entity, and they just recently got an influx of money from an ownership group. So you have to wonder if PIF is going to get in the way of that and say, hey, I have the right of first refusal. This money can't come in. It's really confusing right now because we have Live still going on. We have the PGA Tour going on. We thought they were merging, which meant probably no more Live, but that's not the case right now. And then, by the way, just backtracking. At the end of the day, money talks.
True. Most definitely.
Money talks. Unless you're Tiger Woods, who was offered nearly $1 billion, everybody else has said yes to the bag. John Rahm, Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson. So, it is what it is as far as that is concerned, and clearly Saudi Arabia wants to get involved in sports to kind of maybe wash away some things that they've done in the past. Listen, I think this is the situation that we're in right now. I don't think actually the merger is going to happen, and I say that because you've got the Department of Justice looking into this and Congress looking into this from an antitrust perspective. So now the government's involved.
And that makes it a little bit tough. And we all know how the feeling of Saudi Arabia money. There's a big American, group out there, or a group of Americans that we ain't trying to get, and we saw Tiger Woods kind of like push off of that, and they offered Tiger some money. So it's interesting that the government has gotten into it.
It really is, and we know how fast the government operates, which is not very. So this could just linger on and on and on, and maybe PIF never gets this deal with the PGA Tour. But I still think the PGA Tour is no longer going to be a for-profit. It's going to be, a non-profit. It's going to be a for-profit entity for sure going forward. But whether that means PIF money or somebody else. So.
Okay, good. I got one other golf question before I go back to Super Bowl. I wanted, with the majors and everything coming up this year, is there a player that you say, okay, this guy's gonna shock a lot of people this year, maybe win a major? Is there anybody that you see that's like underrated or maybe not getting the attention that could make that leap and do some good things?
This has been a season so far of the underdogs. We've had 3 straight winners on the PGA Tour that were 100-1 or longer in the outright market. So a lot of rookies are winning right now, et cetera, et cetera. Now, with that said, the schedule gets tougher, so less long shots will win. Will Zalatoris, I will say, keep an eye on him because he's coming back from a back injury. Really great ball striker, premier driver of the golf ball, and has thrived in major championships before. He has come very close in the past. So I would keep an eye on him. And then we talk about him a lot during major championship season, but he could finally win one this year, and I think it's Xander Schauffele. Again, another great driver of the ball, thrives at U.S. Opens, PGA Championships as well. So, he'll be a factor. There's a lot of good youth on the PGA Tour right now, too, to keep an eye on. Ludwig Aberg, who is a German player, I want to say. Really premier ball striker as well. I think he could thrive in major championships to come. And, of course, the big question is, can Tiger Woods actually compete in a major championship
Right.
this year? We're going to see him play next week, by the way.
So I know I said one more golf question, but and
You gotta ask about Tiger.
I don't get to talk golf often. I played in high school. It don't look like it, but I played in high school for a couple of years, and the shot is not as good as y'all may think it is. So
I'm washed up too. I played in high school.
what
Yeah.
about Charlie?
Yeah.
We've seen Charlie. People see the swing, they see everything, and say, "Whoa, that's Tiger 2.0 right there." What are your maybe long-term thing? Do you really see Charlie maybe having an impact on the game down the road?
It's so hard to say, but I will say this: genetics are a powerful thing.
Touché.
And I'll tell you what, his move is so Tiger-esque of the early 2000s, like that powerful, lanky swing, gets a lot of compression on the ball, and he's blowing out his competition.
Yeah.
So, in that vein, yes, he has a trajectory to be a good PGA Tour golfer. Will we see another Tiger Woods again? My answer is probably no, but if there was anyone out there to be the next Tiger Woods, I think it would make sense that it was his son. You know
Right.
what I mean? Because we always try to compare Spieth, Rory, etc. They have never come close to Tiger-esque performances in a long span of time. So I think Charlie is an exciting player to watch and could kind of fill that void when Tiger retires, because it could be sooner than later, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think as kids growing up, we all thought Tiger was going to be the guy that passed, Mickelson. It almost felt like a foregone conclusion until all the injuries and all the personal stuff started to happen. So, hey, Tiger, we're all rooting for you because we know how you changed the game of golf. And last thing here, man, and like Cam, once again, we appreciate you coming on.
Of course.
It's been an absolute honor to get things started. You got me energetic
Yeah,
right now. You got
baby.
me energetic,
Bringing the
brother.
heat.
So, Super Bowl prediction. What is your Super Bowl prediction? Who wins this one? Do we see Mahomes get this will be number what, four? Number
Would
four?
be number three.
Number three
Yeah.
for Mahomes. Do we see number 3 for Mahomes, or do we see Kyle Shanahan finally get over the hump?
Patrick Mahomes, 9-0-1 against the spread when a dog of 2 or more. The team with the better straight-up win percentage entering the Super Bowl is an atrocious 1-15 against the spread. That would be the 49ers in that
Right.
case. I'm just going to rattle off some trends here before I get to my prediction.
No. Rattle them off, brother. Rattle them off.
49ers are just the second team in history to enter the Super Bowl on a 3+ against the spread losing streak. The only other team, 2007 Patriots, who lost to the Giants. I think the Kansas City Chiefs cover +2, but go ahead and pick them outright. I think they will win the Super Bowl, and they will repeat as champions for the first time since the Patriots in the early 2000s. I just looked at the line of scrimmage, and I don't see where the 49ers can get to Patrick Mahomes. And I watched that defensive line against the Detroit Lions for San Francisco, and they got gashed on the edges. Defense loves the edges. Isaiah Pacheco, I think, is going to have a great game and put that all together, a really sticky secondary that the Chiefs have against those 49ers wide receivers, and the Chiefs win.
All right, so there it is. Cam Rogers, gives his dream, gives his prediction. Cam, let everybody know where they can find you, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Cam Rogers live on all and podcast live. Cam Rogers also on Stadium TV, so you can check me out there as well.
So, yeah, make sure you check out my man on Stadium TV. My man, Cam Rogers, thank you for coming
Appreciate
in,
the
brother.
time, man.
Truly appreciate it, my friend.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Darrell Owens, Bowie Television.